Okay, so how do you feel about being chosen as one of the math specialist teachers?
Well, I'm excited about it. I feel it's a good venture in the sense that it would benefit the Federation and students on a whole so that they could develop a love for mathematics and build a sound foundation so that when they reach to high school they're not turned off, or when they reach CXA level they could produce good
Do
results.
you think that you personally are capable of making that kind of impact among youth where they see math differently?
Yes, I think I'm capable. Like I said, I'm excited about the whole maths specialist and I love maths, so I'm looking forward to impacting and seeing a change come about.
How is the workshop going? What about it stands out for you?
It just began a day ago. However, I think one thing that I'm seeing coming forward is the whole idea of using specific methodologies to teach particular concepts in maths. And I find that's perhaps an area that teachers don't really look into. We probably just teach mathematics generally, but there are methodologies that I think if we imply or apply, then we would be better able to put across a solid lesson and help the students to grasp the concept.
I'm not sure whether you can at this point, but is there anything, any little example, very, very, very basic example that you can give us of helping someone grasp a concept in math?
It was split up in groups, and each of the groups were given a different methodology. For example, lecture method, the inductive, deductive approach, the inquiry, discovery approach, and project. So we all had the same topic, concept. However, you would have seen different strategies, different, what should I say, activities that would help the students to grasp the concept of, well, we were particularly looking at area of a rectangle. So the activities that were put forward by the various groups would have been, I would say, ideal and interesting for the students who would have been in those classes.
Do you think that students relate mathematics to the real world today, generally speaking?
I don't think so. However, I would love to see students do that. I think we don't really, perhaps in the classroom, we don't really present it to them so that they could see it applied in the real world. So I think with this workshop, this specific or this specialist in maths would help us to see, help us to help them apply it in the real world.
Okay, are you personally picking up any teaching skills here at the workshop? Because it's not only from the students' standpoint, also the teachers.
Like I said, as it relates to the methodologies, I would have perhaps in the past just write a maths lesson as opposed to using a specific strategy, methodology, like let's say the inquiry approach. Mr. Knight would have spoken to us, our group in particular, how to go about doing a lesson, and from how he put it across, I was like, okay, that's it, I would have had ideas, but, he gave me more ideas, so I think we are learning from each other, and it's beneficial.
It feels good to know that I will be able to go back to my school and to impact not only to the students to change their math scores and the way they see maths, but also to impact the way the other teachers in the school present mathematics in their classroom.
Now, can you tell us some of the ways that you hope to do this upon your return to school?
I hope to meet with the teachers at the school, one-on-one or probably in group setting, and to also be a guide to them and to assist them in their planning of their mathematics units and also the planning of their lessons. And also to be there as a resource person for in the case where a teacher might have a problem in a particular topic or area, that they can come and ask questions and receive the help that they're looking for.
Also, the teacher I spoke to just before you explained a lot about methodology and so on, and he said that he's really, he has gained a lot in terms of a knowledge of how to go about explaining concepts in math to students. Is it the same for you?
Yes, indeed, it's the same. What we need to see is a move or a change from the more traditional ways of presenting mathematics in the classroom, and to now incorporate more, not only more technological, but more uh, pupil-centered approaches, methodologies, and strategies, where students get the opportunity to do inquiry, discovery on their own or in group settings, or probably to do peer tutoring between themselves. And so I think that this is the way to go.
Can you identify one thing in the workshop that stands out
One
for
thing
you?
that stands out for me in the workshop is the differences between the methodologies and strategies that are being presented. For me, I find the inquiry approach very interesting in mathematics because I did not see it that way before. I usually linked inquiry to subjects like social studies and science, but to see how it works in mathematics is very interesting. And I think that an approach like that can help children to discover on their own and also come up with very important skills, and also to develop the concept on their own without um, too much of the teachers, you know, giving or spoon feeding.
Can you give us a very, and when I say very, I mean extremely basic example of inquiry in math, using the concept of inquiry in math? Very basic. I mean, basic, like 1 + 1 basic.
Looking at finding the area of a rectangle. But traditionally, you know, we would, you know, basically present the students with all that they need, all the dimensions and so on that they need to know to go about that. But now, with the inquiry approach, we want children to come up with ways to probably identify the dimensions, like length and width, so they can identify those on their own. If we put them in groups, they can probably come up with these things on their own. Um, Ways of finding the area of the rectangle. We can give them supplies and let them use these manipulators and see how they can go about finding the area, whether using the ruler, using square pieces, or whatever it is. And then what we can do at the end of that, bring the groups together and let the groups present so everybody can learn.